just really reckless to be suggesting that people should have children when you now know in this country there's this affordability crisis, and for a two-person household, a married household, you need over $400,000 for childcare. Over $400,000. Most people don't make over $400,000.
Wow, so let me get this straight. You're telling Americans it's reckless to have kids because childcare supposedly costs $400,000. Are you kidding me? Who exactly is paying $400,000 for childcare in America? What planet do these people live on? Seriously, most families in this country raise children on normal incomes every single day. That's called real life. Here we have the women of The View once again confidently lecturing Americans and apparently having a problem with the idea that people might actually want to get married and have kids. Take a look.
It is these choices, like deleting our dating apps and quitting birth control pills and saying I do at the altar, that ultimately trickle down into the political policies that we will see save our country.
What?
So my ultimate beef with this is that it wraps a woman's worth up in her ovaries in a way that for too long has happened. The fact that we keep putting this on women, that their only worth in society, politics, policy is if they produce a baby or have a husband, is the stupidest, most old-fashioned thing. We have come too far. The world has over 8 billion people. We no longer need to force people to procreate and pump out babies. We have arrived here. Women now and girls now have a choice.
But also,
Let them do that.
Where is the call to responsibility for the men who help make these children, right? I don't know why it's always people lecturing women what they have to do or not to do.
I gave our girl Isabel a little Google. She has a baby. She has a 1-year-old. Of course, she thinks everyone should have a lot of kids. She has a 1-year-old that sleeps all day. I also was like, I'm going to have a bunch more kids. Wait till your kid is up and walking and you spend most of your day trying to get its shoes on.
Yeah.
You're probably going to rethink how many kids you have. That is my son. Yes, that is my new baby.
So she's advocating for people to be born into poverty, people not being able to feed those children, people not being able to educate those children, and people not being able to house those children at the same time when this government is cutting all of the services that would allow people to have families and big families.
Hold on a damn second. Encouraging marriage and family is suddenly controversial now? Are you serious? You're telling me deleting apps and committing to someone is some kind of threat to women's freedom? Give me a damn break. Nobody said a woman's only value is motherhood, but pretending family has no value at all is just absurd, plain and simple. And this idea that having kids automatically means poverty, where does this crazy idea even come from? Honestly, how is it that ABC allows this rhetoric?
It is incredible to me that ABC permits these deranged psychopaths to go on television and lie to the American people every day about things like, I don't know, the cost of childcare. It does not cost $400,000 a year.
Absolutely right. Most families in this country raise kids without anywhere near that kind of money. That's the truth, ladies and gentlemen. So the real question has to be this. Why do the women of The View seem to have such a problem with Americans starting families and having children?
Sunny Hostin, by the way, has 2 kids, private schools, Ivy Leaguers. She's very proud of it. But she apparently doesn't want you to have kids. She doesn't want you to experience the joy of parenthood. Why? Well, because Donald Trump is the president. Let's be honest. This entire incoherent rant comes down to, as it always does, Donald Trump. The broken-brained liberal mind today says, don't have kids in America because, well, we lost an election. And it serves the overall progressive worldview that preaches that nuclear families are bad, that they are oppressive, especially to women. Of course, the happiest women in America, according to polling, are married women with children. But if you want to understand the modern left, it's quite simple. They don't want you to build anything permanent, not faith, and certainly not a family, because permanent things are harder to control. So if you are, in fact, defying Sunny Hostin and having kids out there or planning to have kids, good for you. But please, please, please raise them right, because this country is going to need them.
Exactly right. How is it that the idea of encouraging marriage and parenthood, it's suddenly considered oppressive? That's just ridiculous. Let's call it what it is. Strong families build strong nations. That's not controversial at all. That's common sense, ladies and gentlemen. But if you listen to the folks over on The View, they have you believe that only rich people should be having kids, which is about as out of touch as it gets.
You heard it from The View. Only rich people can have kids.
Yes.
That's
She
really
has
the
kids.
It's the most elitist thing I've ever heard. And by the way, this isn't just some one-off from these crazy ladies on The View. You could go to Katie Porter, who's running for governor in California, where I've seen the clip multiple times, where she said, you know, there's an affordability problem. We have an inflation problem. That's why we need abortion.
Right.
And then you saw Tim Scott, and she has kids too. And then you saw Senator Tim Scott come out and go, thank God my mom, who was poor and single and didn't think that I should be aborted just because, you know, it might be a little bit tough on us.
Tim Tebow.
Yeah, Tim Tebow. Yeah, you name it.
But also, what is Anna Navarro doing? She spent decades in the Republican Party. This is not some fringe message. We have been the pro-family party for years now.
That's right.
For decades. It's like, were you faking it the entire time? I mean, I do think it's kind of disgusting, too, especially since my mom had me so young.
I know.
The struggle was real, and her and my dad had to miss some things so they can provide for us. But it all worked out at the end of the day. I mean, telling people just because they're poor that they can't have fulfillment in life.
Right.
And Brian and Ainsley, Rachel, y'all all tell me all the time that I won't have true joy until I have kids. Because you realize life, you're bringing into life something bigger than yourself.
Exactly right. The idea that only wealthy people should have kids is one of the most elitist takes you'll ever hear. Families in this country have been raising children through sacrifice and hard work for generations. That's the backbone of America, period. I honestly don't know how that show is even still on the air. I mean, they're practically telling the nation to abandon the family structure if your finances aren't perfect. The message almost sounds like this: unless you're making a certain amount of money, you shouldn't even think about starting a family. But that completely ignores how most families in America have actually lived for generations. People didn't wait for the perfect bank account. No, they worked hard. They built their lives step by step, and they raised their kids along the way. So hearing a panel on The View talk like family life is only for the financially elite just feels incredibly out of touch with reality. It's truly disgusting when you stop and think that there are people out there who might actually take that advice seriously. When messages like that are broadcast on national platforms like The View, it can shape how young people think about their future. Imagine someone watching that and believing they shouldn't even consider building a family unless they reach some unrealistic financial threshold. That kind of thinking discourages responsibility, commitment, and long-term stability. Instead of encouraging people to work hard and build a life over time, it promotes fear and hesitation. Families have always grown through perseverance, not perfect circumstances. Turning parenthood into something only the wealthy can attempt sends a deeply harmful message about what life and fulfillment really means. And this is absolutely disgusting. What a damn joke. But hey, maybe I'm wrong. Let me know in the comments below, and I'll catch you in the next one.